Good morning, my friends, and welcome once again to the Pete Torre Business Hour. Today, we're back with our segment with one of our key partners, FIU College of Business. Of course, we are celebrating Technology Month, and we're going to look at Technology Month from a people perspective, HR. We have with us this morning Associate Director of the FIU College of Business, John Nykolaiszyn, and he will be looking at the trends regarding human resources, HR, and technology, and the things that are available out there for job seekers and employers both. But without further ado, let me bring on to the program John Nykolaiszyn, again, with FIU College of Business. Welcome to the show, John.
Hey, Pete. Good morning. It's good to be back.
Let me share with the audience a little bit about you, John. Of course, John is an Associate Director at Florida International University's College of Business. He works with employers on a local, national, and international basis, helping them align their companies' recruiting goals and processes with FIU business students and alumni. John started his recruiting career working for the Maxim Group, a division of Aerotech, and he joined a boutique firm in 1999 and became a full equity partner in the year 2000. He has worked with some of the top local clients nationally, including Burger King. He was senior recruiter for them. And John is also a nationally recognized thought leader in the social recruiting and HR space. So, my friend, quite a bio.
It just means I'm old.
Old? Well, then you know something. We're all in the same club, my friends. We're all there, but we keep moving forward, making things happen.
Absolutely.
Hey, John, of course, we're celebrating Technology Month and so much going on, and we're getting very close to the start of Emerge Americas 2015 on the 1st of May. Last year was an incredible start, a great startup, no pun intended, for the movement. And this year they've gone to a whole different level. I mean, besides local organizations, national companies, international, there are countries that have pavilions at this event. So technology it's huge, it's growing, it's exploding in South Florida, and needless to say that technology is a big part of growing your business and also recruiting and retaining top candidates for businesses. Before we get into some specifics here, give me your from your vantage point, how do you see technology connecting and the things that it's doing for the business world today?
So, it's interesting. A lot of people don't know how big. I was quickly trying to find this number, and I was pinging a friend of mine on Facebook and Twitter to figure this out. A lot of people don't know how huge the HR technology industry is, but to give you a perspective, so in HR, they have the annual SHRM conference, which takes place every year. This year it's going to be in June in Las Vegas. And they also do the HR technology conference. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it really does it touches more employees, big firms, small firms, than people give it credit. So, for example, you're looking at firms like ADP, Kronos, Paychex. Those are firms that we know because, I got to clock my employees in, I got to pay my employees, I got to offer some sort of RPO benefits or whatnot. But these firms are doing things like workforce planning, they're doing talent management, they're using the technology for talent development. I mean, even employee recognition has a huge presence in the technology sector. So to the layman, unless you started doing some digging, you'd be like, oh, this isn't big. And when you start peeling away the layers, you go, holy smokes, this is a very large, multi-billion-dollar industry that's changing the nature of how we work. So you can't give it short shrift.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the thing about technology through the years, it's you either ride with it or you just actually disappear from the scene. You cannot. There's a lot of us that have been around for a while that technology has not been as easy in terms of adapting technology as a younger person who really has embraced it. But if you are in a position or in an industry sector where it is about people and bringing together the right employees and retaining the right employees, you need to not just embrace technology, but use it effectively and strategically.
Well, I think it ties into how people still find jobs. So, the nature of searching for a job is still very personal. It's still very referral-based. I mean, come on, this is Miami. Everybody has a guy. Everybody knows somebody. Mm-hmm. And you have to use it in conjunction with the personal side to navigate how you're going to find a job in today's market. I made that comment to you earlier. Job boards aren't dead. People are still using them. The radio is still very viable. The radio isn't dead. The newspapers aren't going anywhere.
No.
Any pundit who comes on and says, Monster.com is dead or Career Builder isn't giving me the candidates I need, they're still around. There's also job aggregators like Simply Hired and Indeed, and they're offering resume services as well, in some cases for free. So, this notion that it's dead or it's a dying medium is highly, highly, highly overrated. I thought of the joke. Well, it's not a joke, but it's like the old French saying, the king is dead, long live the king. The job boards are dead, long live the job board. Mm-hmm. They're still going to be there.
In all aspects of business, when we're recruiting employees, and also the other, when we're trying to grow our business, technology is something to embrace and use it. We know it's an incredible tool. But with all the candidates that are out there and organizations, especially when the economy is better in terms of now we have these positions and jobs open and all of that, when you're either an employee seeking work or you are an employer seeking an employee, and that medium of technology, what you put down on paper has to be so compelling and clear and in terms of what your message is, because you're competing with so many people that are either looking for work or are looking to hire. So your message has to be so powerful.
I can't agree with you more. It's almost like saying, and it's true, recruiting is marketing. Recruiting is sales. You have to sell, and it is both ways. It's
yes.
to the job seeker and from the job seeker. So if you're one of these individuals who says, "Oh, well, I don't like sales, but I've got to recruit staff." Hey, guess what? You got to sell people on coming to work for you. Mm-hmm. And so I agree completely. Recruiting and technology are just using this. They're making it a lot easier. Mm-hmm. For people to find the opportunities, but you're going to be competing in a very, very crowded space, so it's important to practice good marketing, write good job descriptions. Why does anybody want to come work for you? Yeah, you're offering a paycheck, that's great, but what else? Mm-hmm. And when the economy does get better, that's going to be an important factor, and people have to, the economy is getting better, but when there are more jobs and it becomes a tighter and tighter labor market, we're going to see this pendulum swing back, and we need to be able to say, hey, look, this is a great job this is a great job ad or job posting, and this is a really bad one.
Yeah, because when you're posting anything on the internet, whether again you're posting your resume and the fact that you are seeking a particular type of position, and vice versa, you're an employer, you have an opportunity. This is a job description. This is the type of person we're looking for. Because you're not communicating verbally, okay? That message, like we just said, has to be so strong, and that's one example of using technology effectively.
Yeah.
And you got to be real careful because it's effective and it gets in the eyes of a lot of people. So it behooves you to make sure that message is as clear and as strong as it possibly can be. And a lot of time has to go into whatever you post, because once it's out there, it's not like, oh, no, I really meant this. You've got to really be smart about what you're doing both ways.
It's not like we can delete our tweets and then, pray that nobody reads them. I think, the media gets very, the media is very good at digging up, previous tweets that people have made and kind of, haranguing people about them in their past. But it's also kind of like, well, I know we didn't make this point, but it's a good segue to talk about, your resume's out there and you're doing a lot of great things and you've got a good, strong message, and if you're a Luddite with technology and you don't have a LinkedIn profile, then this is a good opportunity to start getting one and using it to complement your resume.
Absolutely.
That's the other thing too, is that, and it is the double-edged sword. But if you have a big presence, you have to be very careful, and if you have absolutely no presence, you're going to raise some questions because of today's day and age. You've got to be very aware, and you can't be a Luddite. You've got to know this stuff. You've got to leverage these tools.
We now have with us, of course, from FIU College of Business, John Nykolaiszyn, and he is sharing with us his insights and expertise on technology, specifically from the HR perspective. And John, we've talked a little bit about everything and how to be strategic and use this technology medium in a way that will be positive for you and will get your message out effectively. Now, you briefly mentioned job boards, and you mentioned the fact that there's erroneous information out there regarding job boards that they're not relevant anymore. Is that true?
Again, people who say that job boards are dead or are not a viable medium are mistaken. They're not going anywhere. People are still posting resumes. People are still posting jobs. People are still using it as a relevant part of their job search.
It reminds me of the fact that, what's the latest and the greatest and the newest idea, gadget, and everybody jumps on that. It's a bandwagon effect, and they go back and forth. For instance, social media. Okay, Facebook. Well, Facebook doesn't really work. You got to be doing Instagram, or you got to be doing this. You got to be doing that. Well, not so fast, because there's a reason why these types of platforms like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn are so strong, because they're providing value. There's great interest out there. And of course, Monster.com and things like that have been very powerful for years. And just because they've been around a while doesn't mean they're disappearing.
No, and it's funny you mentioned those sites and how relevant they've become in our world today. I think one of the ones that we didn't talk about or we briefly talked about was Yelp. I mean, everyone goes to Yelp to find dinner recommendations or find out things about restaurants that they're going to eat, and that's actually transitioned to the HR space, if you believe it or not.
Yes, I mean, there's something called Glassdoor, correct?
Glassdoor.com, and this is the other side of technology. I know we talked about this. It's the good and the bad. This is basically Yelp for your company, and it's talking about where you work, if you approve of the manager or not, and if what's the pro and the con. And people are if you don't know about Glassdoor, you need to go and take a look at it, because people are being very, very real there. And anytime there's a very real discussion, it's definitely. You definitely have to pay attention to it.
Well, let me ask you a question. I'm an employee, and I'm slightly disgruntled about something or something that's ongoing, and I go there and I share my thoughts on that. Aren't I kind of setting myself up for having a little confrontation with my employer?
Well, no, because you can post anonymously.
Okay.
And there are, like Yelp, you can post anonymously, and people can read it and they'll see. You'd hope that people would go, oh, this is anonymous, and maybe they're venting. But if I'm a business owner or a manager or a director, I think it behooves, if this is what people are actually saying or they're afraid to say it to me, then I really need to pay attention to this and go, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? And there might be budgetary reasons why you can't pay more. Not everybody knows the whole story, but that's one of the things that you'll see is, everybody complains about their money and their salary on this thing, but it really sometimes is a question. Well, hey, am I coming in under market rate or am I coming in above market rate? It really gives the job seeker a lot of power when they're in the recruiting process.
But let me go back to, I'll confess, I have not been to the site, and I'm not, I haven't read what they post there, but if I'm a disgruntled employee and I do something anonymously, do you see where some of the postings mention company by name? Oh yeah, no, you can search your own company. If I'm an employee and I'm not happy with my employer, even though I don't put my name, Are folks mentioning their employers in these comments, even though they don't mention their name?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, that's why I said it's becoming it's a very interesting tool in the space, and if you don't know about it, it's very eye-opening. Again, it's a very real conversation, and sometimes people don't. I mean, listen, we're human. When we don't like our job, we don't tell our boss, "Hey, I don't like my job."
Mm-hmm.
Who do we tell? We tell our friends, we tell our coworkers, we tell everybody else, because they're going to help us find the next job.
Of course. But I'm just saying, to post something out to the world where they can see it, and you mentioned the company. If you have a small company, by a limit, by just deducting, okay, I have 5 or 6 employees, and this is out there, I don't have to search very long. But I guess the example here, what I'm trying to really emphasize, is the fact that technology has opened up our world, and obviously it's a huge part of recruiting and retaining employees. I'm just saying that there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think we all need to be responsible, whether we're an employer, whether an employee, of how we use this, and it really should be towards your benefit, but do it in a way that will create more of a positive environment as opposed to finger pointing and things like that. So I'm again emphasizing all of this because we've got to be smart about what we post in the internet world. And when it comes to this, these are great tools, and you find out more about organizations, but I think they have to be done responsibly. Hey, John, we got a couple minutes left here. If you in John's crystal ball, what do you see happening the rest of 2015 as applies to technology and HR?
So I think it finally moves away from people not understanding it to people understanding it a lot more, or being more aware of it, because they have to go online and register for benefits. They've got to do a lot more things online. So I think this is the year. Well, it's been happening, but this is the year that this multi-billion-dollar industry becomes more commonplace in everybody's mind. I also think that you're going to see the beginnings of this industry start to reshape how people work. So we're not going to have a need for a bunch of people to process paperwork anymore. Mm-hmm. We're going to start to see a lot more automation, and the nature of jobs in this space has already started to change, but it's going to become a lot people will be aware of it a lot more now. I also see that it should finally start to become more accessible. Some of these greater bells and whistles will become more accessible to medium to small-sized businesses. I mentioned some of the payroll companies earlier, but they're not just doing payroll anymore. You can look at analytics, you can look at data, you can look at, and these firms are realizing that they have to branch out beyond payroll and provide this service because their clients are asking for it. So you'll be able to do talent management. You'll be able to do recognition and talent development. Everyone wants to be recognized. How cool would it be, that you're the business owner and you go, oh, wow, Sally's been with me 10 years. This thing reminded me, and, oh, by the way, because I have this package, I can give her this, I can send her a link and she can go pick something out of the catalog, and it becomes fully automated. Mm-hmm. So we're getting closer and closer to that at the medium-sized, it's not just privy to the large businesses anymore. So I think we're going to start to see those trends make their way down to medium-sized businesses 2015, 2016.
As we wrap it up here today, I'm looking at 2 words: human resources. Human resources, and technology is phenomenal. It's great. It's an amazing tool. It has to be part of our strategy, our implementation, the whole 9 yards. But what we got to remember, and you can echo this even much better than I can. It's about people, and people are not numbers. And we cannot forget that we need to be able to interact. Even though we have technology, we've got to be able to connect and interact with people, because that human capital is the most important aspect of any business. Absolutely. It is becoming it's fostering
communication, and if you do it the right way, it's going to foster the right types of conversation. And as a manager or as a business owner, that's critical. That's probably number 3 on your critical factors of success. Mm-hmm. Am I having the right conversations with the right people at the right time to ensure that stuff's getting done and that my business is thriving?
Terrific. John, how can the listeners connect with you?
So I'm at FIU. You can reach us. Our website is talent.fiu.edu. That's the Career Services website. We're in intern season right now, so everyone's looking for an intern. So please hurry up because we graduate students at the end of the month. We have the ability for people to post jobs for free. So even we've got technology in the college recruiting space, which is a lot of fun. And I'm reachable via email, jnykolai@fiu.edu.
John, thank you so much, my friend. Have a fantastic day.
Absolutely a pleasure. Take care, Pete.
All right, bye-bye now.
Bye.